Hello, friends. This evening we are going to be going through how we can convert a standard HMI application to inductive automation's ignition. So, first of all, let's talk about why we're even doing this. There can be a couple of reasons. The big reason is for a lot of you, you are trying to learn about PLCs and learn about HMIs. And honestly, an HMI is an option I talk more of y'all out of than I probably sell people on. Because I always ask, well, what do you really want to do with HMI? And you're usually like, well, I want to build a screen. And that's what I love about inductive automation's ignition is they've given us a way to at least experiment with an HMI or a SCADA for free, at least with their 2-hour free trial. So one, if you're following along, then let's go to course or twcontrols.com/courses. And here you can find all of our free courses. And right now, the ignition one is in the lessons and development section. It becomes more mature, we'll push it up here. But if we go in here, then we have talked about how to download Ignition for free. And now we're going to be building out our first SCADA program. We're converting a basic HMI. Now, if you didn't watch the download one, I'm not going to go fully through it because you can do that later. But if we just pop over, if you just Google inductive automation ignition download, then right in here, you're going to see download ignition by inductive automation. And they're not kidding. They say install the full version of ignition in minutes. Try it. And try it as long as you want, all for free. So this is a full-blown version of it, and you have to reset it every 2 hours. So I don't have a license right here, and so it's just going to say reset trial. I'm going to hit the reset trial button, and we're good for 2 hours on this one. Now, a little bit about ignition as far as there's two different, we'll call them views. That's all we're going to talk about them as for today is you have vision and you have perspective. And honestly, as of today, I think there's a lot of applications that need one and a lot of applications that need the other. So we're actually going to do this video twice. We're going to do it this time in what's called vision. And this is what you kind of consider your typical HMI app or the application where you go to your start menu to go find something. Now, perspective is a web-based one. So we can do a lot of cool things. We can render them on phones, tablets, they can be responsive and all that good stuff. I got to be honest, in the PLC lab, I'm probably still going to use vision, but I see a lot of uses for perspective. And also, I dabbled in 8.3 and they've added some features that I think it really needed for a lot of us to push over to it. But all right, in this one, we're going to do perspective, and we're going to be doing this HMI right now, right here. And this has our default PLC trainer program in it. You press the buttons and the corresponding lights come on. We also see the indicators up here. You can press them, and they also work here. Got a start button, that can start our motor. Got a stop button, it can stop our motor. So that's going to give us enough to work through. Now, if you're wanting to work through this same program, if you have one of our PLC trainers, then if you go to twcontrols.com/getting started, this is that page that I tell everybody to bookmark. Then down here, you're going to see sample programs that are pre-installed on your trainer before it ships. And if you have a Studio 5000 one, it goes with that PanelView 800, and there's the program for it. And in our case, we're going to be using this Micro 850, and this one right here has the PLC, the PowerFlex, the HMI, and everything. So just to go over here, here's the program that we're going to be converting. Actually, this one has an LMC or linear motion control added to it. Oops, you did not see anything I just did. Let me do that again. Sorry, folks. I'm terrible about doing that. I don't have a Michael here to tell me everything I'm doing wrong. There, let's try it again. If we go to twcontrols.com/getting started, and this page right here has everything, kind of your launching point for your PLC trainer. And down here under sample programs, then if you're using Studio 5000 or a Compact Logix PLC, that's the program for it. It is a Connected Components Workbench program, even though we're in Studio 5000. And for our Micro 800 PLCs, it'll be this one right here. And if we look inside of it, then yeah, this has our Micro 800 PLC. It also has our PowerFlex 525, and it has our Panel View 800. And so, yeah, this is what we're going to be converting this evening. Here's what I was saying is, yeah, this also has the LMC. This is not in the normal program that it ships with. It is in the one that I use at the training center. And I was looking over about an hour ago, and I realized the trainer I grabbed doesn't have a motion control on it anyway. So we won't be able to do that. So it's funny. I don't think it matters which HMI or SCADA software you're using. I think there's still three basic things you need to do. Now, from an HMI SCADA, a lot of you data people out there are like, oh, there's a lot more to it than that. But if we want to build a screen, we need to configure communications, tags, and then our graphical interface. And we always want to start right out of that graphical interface. But if we do the other two first, life will be much smoother. So if we go over here and we look at our Panel View 800, here is where we configure the communications in it. And if you're using our default trainer, it's IPs 192, 168, 110. This trainer has a special IP 192, 168, 20, 101. So that's the first thing we're going to need to do. And to start with that, we're going to go to our web browser and you're just going to type localhost 8088, and that is running after you've installed Ignition with our previous lesson. And they have changed this. This is 8.3. I just downloaded it a little bit earlier, and so I hope this works great. I think it will. But I do like some of the organizational changes they made. So used to you had a little gear icon over here. You did a lot of scrolling up and down. But right now we need to configure a connection. Well, we're going to go to the connection area. And then we want to add a device. So we're going to go to the devices area. And we're going to go to settings. And so right now we have no devices configured. And, oops. Sorry, we're going to go to devices and then connections. I was looking here and I'm like, why does it say BACnet? We're going to go here and then we're going to create a device connection. And one thing to be really aware of is notice it's already highlighted for us to grab this Allen Bradley Compact Logix Legacy driver. And we're usually in a hurry. We don't read all the details. Notice this is only for firmware up to 20. Well, we're on firmware version 34. So unless you got an older PLC, you're not going to use either one of these top ones. For Studio 5000, which we'll use in the next one, we would use the Allen Bradley Logix driver. But in this case, and this may be it, depending on how long since you've been poking at Ignition, now there is an Allen Bradley Micro 800 driver. Now, one thing I did notice when I was installing it is this driver was not checked by default. So I did have to check that box when I was installing the software. And then we're going to go next, and we're going to give this a name. And so this right here is our Micro 800. And then we need a host name. And the host name is going to be your IP address of your PLC typically. And we're going to just create device. And what I love about Ignition is every time you do any step of this, you immediately know whether it's working or not. So we created it. It says connected. That means that it is actually talking out there now. And that's all you actually really need to do in your web browser to get started on this. For the rest of it, we're going to go to Ignition's Designer. So I'm just going to go to the Start menu and start typing Designer. And we're going to get the Designer launcher. And I've already have a designer added, but just so you can see what you would do, you would just simply add designer. And for us right now, our basic one, we are going to select our localhost 8088 and just hit add designer. And then you're going to highlight it. Sometimes it's kind of hard to realize that it's actually highlighted, but yeah, if it has a little blue around it, it's highlighted. You can hit open, or you can simply double click on it over here, and that'll start opening it up. And right now, let's see. Oh, we got Andy Films Raw. Very nice to see you there. Oh, I didn't catch Ken up there. Ken has been using Ignition for 3 or 4 years and love it. It is occasionally maddening, and you're right, like everything else. But once you've done a couple of projects, you won't go back to an HMI. And you're right. For a lot of you out there, yeah, there is no going back. Hi, Mom. Always good to see you. And so now you're going to put our login in. And then we're going to create a new project. So I'm just going to click New Project. And this is going to be my HMI conversion. And I could fill out all this. You can do a lot of things here to save yourself some time. In fact, I'm looking right here. One thing that's, oh, sorry, I can't select it there. All right, we may have to go and play a here. There's a new historian database. We'll have to go check that out. Not going to worry about it right now. We're just going to leave everything at the default and hit create new project. And the first time loading is a little slow, but after that, it seems to be fast. Now, of course, I'm on a super slow computer. Funny, I had a really fast computer that Michael picked out for me a couple years ago, and it weighed like 50 pounds. No, it wasn't 50 pounds, but it was a lot to lug around. So finally I told Michael, hey, I really want a lightweight laptop. Can you find me something? And he did. And then I couldn't edit videos hardly anymore. He's like, hey, you got to choose. Which one do you want? So, so I am on a slower computer now. But okay, here's what I was talking about earlier. We have perspective and then we have vision. And so in this video, we are going to be working in vision, but we're not going to do that yet. We still got a little more work to do in here. Mainly we have our tag browser here that we need to work through. So here's where we're going to add our tags. And since we have that connection already configured for the Micro 800, we're just going to go to Browse Devices, and we're going to open up our Aero by Ignition, go to Devices. There's our Micro 800. And then all of our 800 ones are going to be under Controller Global. And here's all of our I/O. Now let's just see what that would look like in the connected components, just so we can make sure we're following back and forth. So in the Micro 800 or connected components workbench, we have our tags here, and we have a tag name. Oops, we have a tag name, and then we have the actual address out on the PLC. And so here's where we're mapping what we're going to do in our HMI compared to the address out there. And we're going to start with this start and stop here, because that way we can get a fan running. That makes everybody smile really fast. So let's go back over here, and we're going to go down here and we're going to find our start and stop tags, and they're right there. So I'm just going to hold my shift key down, and I can hit both of them at the same time. And we're going to add those with that middle arrow, and we're going to click OK. All right. And here's what I mean. Again, the one thing I love about Ignition is every step of the way we get instant verification. If it doesn't say an error right here, this is live data right here. And we can actually use these. And one thing we talk about a lot in our training class is sometimes Ignition is awesome, even when you don't actually need to build an HMI or SCADA. Let's say we didn't even have the software. Well, first of all, we can pull live data, and maybe we just need to stick a temporary trend in there on something that's running a different SCADA system. If we don't want to mess it all up, well, we can start a trend there. We can have it just running on our local computer and, yeah, do a lot of good troubleshooting on it. But just to show that this is live, if we go up to project now, then we see that our COM is normally just on read only, or we can switch it to read write. Well, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to hit the checkbox on this start. And it's going to ask me, do you want to enable read write? And the moment that I do this, you're going to, well, maybe you can't hear the fan run, but if you stare right here, you probably can see the fan start to run. So our fan's running. And now I have a stop button here. That's all I'm going to stop it. Man, it stops. So we've done that. We haven't even built out our first screen. So now we're going to go ahead and build a screen out. So right in the middle there, it says create new window. If for some reason you don't see this, you can also open up the arrow by vision. And there's your windows. We can right click and we can select a main window. And I'm just going to call this one my main. And there you go. Now we have a window. All right, so on this part, we're going to show a couple different ways. For this one, we're just going to drag in our traditional buttons off of the right side. So we have a multi-state indicator. Oops, I'm sorry. I'm jumping ahead. This is not a multi-state indicator. This is a momentary button. So we're going to drag a momentary button in. And then here's the one thing that gets me every time. I feel like I need to put, I need to change this name here under momentary, but that is not, that is the name of the object up here. We actually want the text. So you got a lot of things, you take probably, talking about ignition, somebody was saying about they all take so long to figure out where everything is. In this one, your components, the things you want to drag into your screen, they're going to be on the right side. In the middle left, there's your tags. The bottom, there's where all the properties for the various things are. And this top part is the project browser, which gives you all the structure of everything you're doing. But if we go down a little bit over here, then we're going to see our text. So right here is where I actually need to change it. Now, right now, you've got some different views here. So this one right here is the categorized view. This one right here, but it's an alphabetical. Let's see, if I knew it was text, I could put it in that one. I usually leave it right here. Or if I know that thing's called text and I don't feel like scrolling, because anybody's been in my training knows I don't like you scrolling, I can just type text in my filter box. And this will give me all my various text for it. So on this one, we're going to call it start. And then I want to make my background color green, because yeah, that's what the other one was. It's somewhere about like that. But yeah, if we go over here and we go back to our screen, then we had a green start button. So we're going to make this one green. We want to make the background green is what we're going to do. So I'm just going to type color up here. And there's our foreground color, and here's our background color. And I'm going to hit the little arrow here. And I'm not going to get real technical what greens which because yeah, that could be a whole probably course in colors for that are pleasing for operators. All right, so that gets that. Now we almost want the same thing on the other one. So I'm just going to right click and copy it, and then I'm going to right click, paste, and get a second one in here. And also right now I have it where it's snapping to the grid. And if you don't like the snap to the grid, you can just uncheck that, and now we can very finely do it. But I like the snap to grid, and we can change our grid size. So I'm going to put snap to grid. I'm going to change that to 5, and that lets you get a little more fine tuning with them. All right, this one right here, we're going to name start, but also I'm going to make this one red. So I'm just going to grab this color red, and then we're going to go back to text over here. We're going to make this one start. Stop. Oh, stop. Maybe spelled correctly. There we go. Okay, so we've got 2 buttons here. Now, they don't actually do anything yet. They are just sitting out here. We need to map our tags to it. Now, if we were in Connected Components Workbench, that would mean that we would need to select it here and go to Properties. And then we would go down and we would find the right tag. And so the right tag here is Start Push Button. Well, over here, this is one really cool thing about Ignition is you want to link this to this Start tag right here. I'm just going to drag this tag and see it's kind of yellow right now. Whoops, I don't know what it did, but we'll get that and fixed in a second. And we're going to just put it over top of this start button. And notice it turns yellow when we do that. As soon as I let off of it, it is bound to that tag. Now, to see exactly what that does, because I don't want you to think that it's just magical here, is now I'm going to take this out. And actually, I'm going to type tag in place. What that did is that mapped this control and this indicator to that tag. So now if I hit this chain right here, then it's mapped to start. And this one right here is also mapped to start. Now, just so we can see that we could manually do it on our stop. Right now they're blank. We're going to go right here, go to tag, and we're going to map that one to stop. And we're going to hit right here, tag, and map that one to stop. So that does the same thing, but they've made it really convenient that you can map these easily. Now, you want to click right now and make this thing work, and you can actually do it. As long as you know about this little preview button right here. So this right here, the little play button is our preview button, or we can go up to project and go to preview mode. And so now that does start our fan. Whoops, that one does not stop our fan. What did I do wrong? Well, I'm going to hit this button. That way you don't have to hear the fan going over the mic. And we'll go see what I did wrong. So I'm going to hit the stop button now. We'll click here. And, wow, I really felt that should have worked. In fact, did anybody catch what I did wrong? Well, here's why I like their way better, because chances are I selected the wrong tag on one of those. So I'm just going to drop this over top of that. Now we'll hit our play button. Start. Stop. Okay, so probably when I was just selecting that, I bet you I selected, I didn't hit the replay, but I bet I hit selected start for the control tag. So that's a really convenient way to do it. Okay, so that gets that piece done. And then the next thing we have here is we have a nice little gauge right here that's telling us our motor speed. And what we want to do is go and look and see what this is actually displaying. So it's an analog gauge. We got a collection over here, and it's displaying the actual speed. So we'll go back over here, and we're going to hit our plus sign on this tag browser, browse devices, and go grab that actual speed. And there it is right there. Now, I could go ahead and grab all these tags. And also, you know, some people always ask in class, well, why don't I just drag all the tags? Well, remember, you're taxing your PLC to serve all these tags each time. And don't worry, I'm going to grab a bunch of them in a second, but we're just taking a few baby steps through this right now. So we're going to select the actual speed and add it over there. And we'll click OK. And again, this is immediate. So I can use this button, or I can just hit this checkbox right here. And we see our actual speed is now 50.98. And then I can uncheck that box and we'll hit our stop button. So that is in percent, 0 to 100%. So I could go over here. Well, one, let me show you this because especially when we're fatigued, I'll do this 15 times on myself. And see, I want to drag something in for over here. But while we have that preview going, it's not going to let us drag anything in. So I'm just going to hit the stop button on that. And then I could go over here and find a gauge. In fact, let's do that on this one just so we can see we can. Yeah, we'll do it. No, we're not, because I wouldn't do that. We're going to drag this actual speed over in the middle, and I'm just going to drop it. Notice when I drop it, kind of looks like I made a right click there. Well, here are some options you can get here. So we have a progress bar, we have a tank, we have an LED display, or we have a numeric label. I'm just going to drop a numeric label in there. And then while we're at it, we're going to use our filter over here, and I want to put a gauge in. So we're going to go over here and and here's another cool thing. I typed gauge. It's not a gauge, it's a meter. Well, that ignition knows that. So I'll drag that into there. All right. Now, this one is mapped. This one is not. Because, see, I drug this one from the right side, just dropped it. It has no idea what this is. But since I used that little funky right-clickish feature, this one is mapped. So now, if I just hit my start button here, this one is showing, this one is not showing. So now what we need to do is we need to get this one mapped. And to do that, you're just going to drag your actual right over top of that. And now I'll go and hit the play button this time. And I hit my start button. My gauge goes up. And I'm going to stop. And it drops back down. Now, honestly, I don't know that I really need that second one. Except for, you know, I need some units here. So what is the units? Because I was thinking I need to drag this down, but I just realized it's giving me the actual right here. So this is redundant at this point. But I'd like to have some units here. I'd like to know that this is RPM. Oh, this isn't RPM. This is This is percent. I just said that a little bit ago. So yeah, let's go and look into this gauge here. And we're going to take that filter out of that vision editor. Watch that. It is same as, in Studio 5000. We accidentally leave that filter box in and then we scroll up and down and can't find what we're looking for. But I think it's a unit. Let's see if we can put a unit into that. Well, there you go. We have units right there. So I'm simply going to put a percent sign there. There you go. So yeah, we don't even need this one. We're going to take that out. Okay. And we'll just drag that in a little bit. That looks about the same as what we have over here. All right. Now, in this one, we use the increment decrement. And I got to admit, I never really liked it, but this worked best over here. What I found most people in class, they want to do the slider. So we're going to do the slider in this one. And so we need the commanded speed because this is the actual speed. This is telling us what it's going to run or what it is running. We want to know what is it supposed to run? What are we telling it to run? So we have some increased speed, some decreased speed, but also there was a cell right here and that went to the speed command. So let's bring our speed command into there. So browse and find that speed command. And we'll add it in. Oops. What did I just do? Oh, well, that's a nice feature because you know something, half the time, I don't think that used to do that before 8.3. I know what it did. I forgot to hit the arrow in the middle, and I always forget to hit the arrow in the middle. So that's a nice feature. So hit that button. Uh-oh. Collisions detected. All right. I think we're okay. There, we have a speed command and it does say 51. All right. So same deal. We can use this little drag feature. We're just going to click on it and drag it in. And we're going to put this slider in. It's going to let us slide it up and down. Now it used to be right here. So I don't want a horizontal slider. I want a vertical slider. So we're going to take that filter box out. And we are going to find over here where it says take orientation. Don't know what it says. There it goes. It says horizontal slider. We're going to uncheck that. And that's going to make it a vertical slider. And we'll bring that up. We want it about the same as that one. And we'll bring it down to about there. A little high. There we go. That looks about, there we go. And yeah, eventually I need to line this up. We need a background. We'll get to all that eventually, but that's close enough. So now if I hit my play button, it says 50%. I hit my start button, actually 50.98. And I can bump it down this way, or I can just drag it and drop it. Yeah, I think that works much better. And whoops, I hit the wrong stop button. I need that stop button to get the motor off. All right, so that takes care of really our start button, our speed control. Okay, and then we got a few display items here. We've got our bus voltage, our motor voltage, motor amps, and yeah, we're not going to worry about our positioning data. So we got those to do, and also we have our green, yellow, red, and blue light. And I think I'll do these next. Now, here's one of those times where all of a sudden I'm looking and I'm like, why are these up and down on the right side when on the trainer they're actually going left to right? So I think I'm going to go ahead and make these go left to right on this. So over here we're going to add some buttons, and yeah, we're going to go across this direction. So we're going to hit our stop button. And then we're going to bring in, what are we going to bring in here? We're going to bring in, I think just another, yeah, this will be a momentary button. And this time we're going to grab a bunch of tags because, all right, it was great grabbing a few tags, but now it's like, okay, let's go grab some tags so we've got something to work with. And so we're going to open up devices, micro 800, controller global, and we want all these button tags. So see here, we have button, and we have, actually, we're not going to need that graph. This was another thing I had to do in the panel view 800 to make it wouldn't accept a Boolean tag. I think our normal data is going to work fine ignition, or we'll find out that we'll have a learning opportunity. So we're going to grab just these. Now I'm holding the control key to grab these. So we're going to grab those. We're going to grab that one. And we're going to grab that one. Those should do it. We're going to bring them over. And then our we had our speed data. So down, where's that at? I mean, oh, there we go. We have motor voltage and motor amps. We're going to go and drag those in. And then we're going to go up and we should have our bus voltage. We're going to drag it over there. There we go. Those should get most of what we need for the rest of this. So we got a momentary button here. And yeah, same deal. I always want to change this name here, but it's not. We need to go down and get the text. And we're going to change this to our green button. Now, in the other one, you notice I had, actually, no, I only named that one green. But you see how compact it is and how long this is going to be? Well, if I drag this over, see it starts to get those little dots. I know they're called ellipses, but if I say ellipse, everybody's like, what are you talking about? So I want to make this where it says green, and then on the next line it says button. And so to do that, a really cool feature is all we're going to do is we're going to make this HTML. And to make it HTML, all we're going to do is put one of those Pac-Man symbols in there, HTML, and close our Pac-Man symbol. And then green, and then a line return is BR. So Pac-Man symbol, BR, close Pac-Man symbol. And there you go. Now they're going to be over top of each other. All right. So we have a button here, and we want to change our background color based on whether the light is on or not. So in this case, we're going to not just have the right tag and have it change based off what's going on. We want to change that background. So in this filter, we're going to type color. And I think that actually, this is a good time. We're gonna do a little script here. So first of all, no, I don't know these well. So I'm gonna figure out what color I need. So I'm gonna click the start button up here. And I know a 0, 255, 0 is what I need. And then I want this color when it is not on. And that color right there is, we're gonna just copy and paste that because I'm no way I'm remembering that one. So we'll copy. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the chain on our background color, and we're going to use an expression to change our background color. And so, first of all, this is Python or something like it. Now, I got to admit, you folks know I'm a technician. I'm not a programmer, so I am not really good at this part right here. In fact, I probably should go take some type of class on it. But if we go to this little function symbol right here, then you can kind of fumble your way through and figure out a lot of things. So right now I'm looking to do some logic. I'm really looking for an if then, and there it is right there. So if, open parentheses, and our condition, comma, what are we going to do when it's true? What are we going to do when it's false? So I'm going to click that. That gets us started on that. And we're going to get the little price tag over here. That's how we can go browse our tags. And we're going to open that up. And I want to know if my green light is on. So I'm just going to hit that one. The whole thing. Don't I accidentally open that up, but we're just going to hit the whole tag there. And that's my tag. So then I'm going to go comma. And what do I want to do when it's green? I mean, well, what do I want to do when it's true? I want it to be green. And so I need a quote and then that the color code, which was 0, 255, 0. And then I'm going to hit a comma after that quote. And then it's still in my clipboard because there's no way I could remember that number right there, but that's that little light gray. And then I always forget, you remember you got to balance your parentheses. I've got to have a closing parentheses out here. There we go. So there's how we can learn to write a little basic expression along our way on this. So go ahead and click OK on that. And right now our green button is gray because our green light is not on. Now on our trainer, we also have where we can just use this. So just so you can see it without me interacting with it, I'm going to press the green button and our indicator changes. We let off of it and it goes away. Now, right now, we're only using the indicator function of this button. This button itself is not tied to anything. Now, let's make sure we understand how we know that, because I know I kind of botched that stop button doing it. But if we type tag in here, Mainly, we have no chain links here. That tells us whether these tags are actually linked. So to link it, we're going to go here and find our green button, and we just drag it over it. And once it turns yellow, we just let loose of it. And now it's mapped. And so the same as me pressing the green button over there, now I can hit my preview mode. I press my green button and my green changes here. So now we have a button that can change color. So now we're going to copy and paste that. And this will be our yellow button. Whoops, get a little space. And then this will be our red button. And this one will be our blue button. And then we'll click this one. And I'm just going to type text. Whoops, text, not test. And we're going to make this one yellow. Green, yeah, because it's yellow. So that's going to be our yellow. And then this one will be our red. And this one will be our blue. And then notice that red is not centered. I'm not remembering exactly how to get that fixed right now. But what I can do is I can put a space there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in, and this is what, this is old school one I just remember. We're going to put the and sign and then NBSP. That's going to be your space and a semicolon. And now when I click off, yeah, that puts a space on that one. That blue one probably could use a space too. So we'll grab that same thing. And we're going to do that on that blue one. And yeah, we probably could pretty that up a little more, but just function wise, that gets us close. So now I need to know my yellow color. Now I got to be honest, I don't know the yellow color. So before I do this, well, first I'm going to put color in. And I should know this color, but I don't know one. We ought to go ahead and it already has the code in it. So I'm just going to drag anything down. I'm going to grab another button. And for my background color on this one, I'm going to select this yellow right here. It may not be the greatest yellow, but that's a good enough yellow. And so that code is 255.255.0. So now I click my yellow button and we can hit our background. And instead of 255, 250, or yeah, we're going to put a 255 here. 255, 255.0. Is that what I just said? Let's go back there. I don't think I got that right. Oh, that's it. Okay. And sorry, we're going to test them all in a second. So now we want a red. So it's going to go here. And yeah, you could go and find an HTML color picker. So that's just a 255 at the beginning. We'll hit that. And we will just make this one 255. And then 00. And then we get a blue. So come here. Let's find ourselves a blue. Oh, that's a really dark blue, but yeah, that's a terrible blue. Actually, I don't think I can get away with that. That's purple. Oh, now here's what happens. I get hung up on these colors, and next thing you know, I'm sitting there for hours. We're going to use that blue right there. There we go. So that one is a 255, 255. So we'll hit that, and we'll hit our thing there. Oops, 255, 255. Okay, so it still only gets our background colors going, but we can test them. So I press my yellow button. Oops, and nothing happens. Oh, that's because I didn't change my tag while I was in there. And yeah, oops. So probably can't believe nobody told me that. Yeah, but now if I hold all of them, I can test them all at one time because they're all tied to the green button. So we need to go change also the tag name of those expressions. Well, there's a danger of copy and paste it. So we're going to go here. This is not our green light. This is our yellow light. And then this one here is our red. This one here will be our blue. Now, if I press well, let's go ahead and start at green. Green, got a green. Yellow, got a yellow. Red, got a red. And blue, we got a blue. All right, so these are not mapped yet so that we can use them. So we're going to go over here and we're going to find our buttons. So I need a yellow button. There's our yellow button. We'll drop it on. There's our red button. We'll drop it on. And there is our blue button. We'll drop it on. Now we'll hit our play button to get the preview going. And I press the green. I get a green light over here on the trainer, and this turns green. I press the yellow. I get a yellow light on the trainer, and that turns yellow. I press the red. I get a red light on the trainer, and that turns red. And I press the blue. I get a blue over here, and I get a blue on the trainer. All right, so that part works. So let's see where that puts us at on this. Now, admittedly, we're going to probably do a little sprucing up, but yeah, we could spend a lot of time sprucing it up. But all right, that gets arguably this section over here done, and that gets these done. So next we need our bus voltage, motor voltage, and our motor amps. And we're going to do that with a little more scripting, just so we can be learning about scripting while we're doing this. So let's go over here. Now, notice we can use the filter, but they're also in categories. We have an input category. We have a button category. Well, in this case, I want to display something. And we could do a numeric display, but in this, I want to do just a general label. We're going to drop a label in here. And the bus voltage is a really good one to start with because it has live data in it, so you're not staring there wondering whether anything's happening or not. So we're going to remember to take our filter box out of that. And actually, we're just going to type text. I don't know why. We're testing tonight, folks. I can't type text. And here is our label. Right now it says label. So we're going to hit our little link here, our little chain. And we're going to go to expression. And we're going to stick a tag in here. So I'm going to open up my tags. And we're going to grab that bus voltage and click OK. And right away, there we go, 342 volts. So that gives that piece. Now, what I would love to do is similar to what we did over here. I want to put bus in front of it. So this is one that you probably do have to Google if you don't know. What we need is the concat or concate instructions, depending on where you're from is how you pronounce it. Is we're going to go back into that chain. And if we use our function things over here, we know we want to manipulate a string. So somewhere in here, if we struggle hard enough, we can figure it out. And mainly this right here will combine different strings. So we want concat, open parentheses, string, comma, string, and we'll be able to build our string out. So in this case, since I already have my tag in here, I can just type concat, open parentheses, and then we want to put quotes here, and we're going to put our bus. Actually, I'm just going to put bus. And then actually, we'll put it, well, no, don't let me do that because I want to show you why we're doing that. So we're going to put bus, put in quotes, comma, and then don't forget your closing parentheses. And we'll put that in. And that almost looks good, but yeah, see, we need a space there. And honestly, I usually forget that the first time. That's why I backed off on that. We actually want bus space. And then over here, our bus voltage is volts DC. So we'll go over here and we're going to put another one at the end of it. We're just going to put comma, then quote, space, VDC, unquote. And there we go. That's going to give our bus voltage, and that is going to be live data. But this is the start of the bus voltage if you're actually playing this on our trainer, because otherwise you'll go crazy trying to get it to work with the motor and trying to figure out what's going on. If your power flex is powered up, this bus voltage has something in it. Okay, so now we want almost the same thing. So we're going to go ahead and copy, and we're going to paste that and get a second copy of it. And the next one is our motor voltage. So we did bring our motor voltage in earlier. It's called motor voltage. And so I could go use the tag browser and find it, but in this case, We're going to hit our chain. And instead of bus voltage, we're just going to change that to motor. Now that's VAC. And we're going to call that our motor. And then we'll click OK. All right, so we don't get instant notification whether this is working or not. So we're going to hit a preview button. And we'll hit the start button. And we are getting a voltage there. So that gives us that. All right, and the other one was the amps. So it's nearly the same thing. So we're going to copy and paste again. And we'll hit our chain over here. Now, let's say this time I didn't remember it. Well, I can just take this out. And then I can hit my tag browser here and go to tags. And we're going to get our motor amps. There we go. And that will be amps. And there we go. And so now we have our play button. We start. And we're looking good. And we stop. Okay, so yeah, it could definitely use a little bit of sprucing up, but that's getting us close to what we have on the other screen. The big thing we have left is we have a chart on ours. So if we go over here and we look, so we got our starts, we got our display, we got our lights, and yeah, actually we have, well, we need an image. We need let's go ahead and let's do a little backfill in here. We need a background color. And our background color on this one is 7DA 2D6. So I'm just going to copy that. And then we'll go over to ignition and we'll click any of the blank space that you have. And we'll just type color into that filter box. And there's our background color. And notice right now, it's not looking for that hex HTML code though. So what happens if you try to paste that in? I don't think it will. I'm not sure. We're learning here together now. I'm trying to be lazy. Oh, look at there. They figured it out for you. How about that? And I bet you there's somebody who can tell me there was probably some way to browse that too. But all right, that was easy. Okay, so that's that. And then now we had a little box at the bottom of this. Now, honestly, this is one that I don't know why it eluded me so long in ignition. I kind of feel like I want a shape over here. And I hunted and hunted and hunted. And I'm like, why on earth would they never have a shape in their component palette? Well, they're sitting right here to the right of you. You get all types of cool little shapes, arrows, lines, circles, and all types of fun stuff. So yeah, we're going to drag that in and we'll just drag it. Something like, oops, I didn't hit it. And yeah, we'll drag a box. Something like so. Looks close enough. Oops. I didn't mean to drag a second box though. So now we're going to go back over here and get our pointer going again. And yeah, we'll drag that across. There we go. All right, so then we had an image in there. So we're just going to go up in our filter and type image. And there's our image. Really cool. You can get some IP camera stuff going on, but right now we're just going to put a picture in. And then we're going to double click on it. And we can go, actually I already have it in here, but if you didn't have what you wanted, you can just simply hit the upload button. In this case, there's our company logo. All right, that came in way big. And see what happened? As soon as I clicked that, that thing went away. And I haven't really found a way to get it by that. After that, let's go to size and position. Oops, and that came way over here. There we go. And just to get that out of the insaneness. Now, the issue is, oh, I grabbed the wrong image. I grabbed the high resolution version of it. That's okay. You can see the very fine TW controls image. But okay, that's still way too big for this. So we're going to go size and position. And I think this probably needs about 400. What's that? 4-to-1 ratio? Yeah. Yeah. So let's make this 400. Whoops. No, my math is not mathing. Let's cancel that and try that again. We go to size and position. Yeah, we want this. Let's try 100. Yeah, that would be 400. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. 400 and 100. There you go. That brings it kind of down. That's honestly still way big, but I'm not going to play with it anymore for now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use that snap grid. I'm going to get it kind of squared up there. And then I would want this right here, something like so. And then I really don't like that border going around that. So I'm going to click this. I'm going to take my filter out. And then over here, we have a stroke style. And this is that line going around it. You could give it a thickness. You could change the color. Or in our case, oops. Oh, we're going to hit that. And our width, we're going to just make 0. There we go. All right, so it gets us kind of looking like what we have there. And actually, there's some more text here. And yeah. I mean, this is our getting started program, or this is the program that ships up our trainers. And that's what I tell y'all. If y'all can get to this getting started guide, then chances are you're going to be golden. So let's go ahead and put that in. So I've got it in my clipboard. We're going to bring another label down. And then in this case, it is just basic text. Ooh, no, it is not just basic text. So we have that same deal with the HTML. So I want, I want this to end right there and then go to the next line. So I'm just going to go over here, hit my little thing, and we're going to hit our Pac-Man symbols, HTML, and then right here, we're going to put BR. There we go. And, we haven't talked about changing text size because honestly, all this text is a little bit small, but we're only going to do on this one. So I want to change the text size on this one. I'm going to make that one 24 right there. Then you can drag that on out. And I'm so desperate to get y'all to go to that site instead of calling me saying that you don't know how to get to that site that I also want that to be highlighted. So we're going to go to our color. And instead of our background, fill background color. First of all, on a label is really nice because typically when you're dragging stuff in, you don't want to use the background color. In this case, I do, but I don't want it to be that color. I want it to be yellow. Also, you notice these colors are getting filled in up here. Here's the ones you're using in this. Okay, so that gets us really close. We're done with this for now. I'm going to delete it back out. And the big thing we have left is our chart. Now, they do need it a little bit more setup before we can actually use the chart function, but we never think to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to drag a chart in. So we're going to type chart over here, and this easy chart can do a lot of cool things. Now, I understand there's another new chart that I need to look at, but I haven't done it yet. Okay, now notice I'm not really using my screen well. Didn't make it on wide enough. Let's go ahead and fix that. So here's one cool thing. So I want all this changed. So I'm going to go bring it over here. I'm going to line it up about like that. We're going to line this up along with it. See, that goes to about there. Go that about there. And grab all of it now. And yeah, let's drag that on out. There, that way it nicely fills in the whole thing because this probably is the end of this. Okay, so we have a chart here and we double click on it and we want to go to our tag history pins. And so we hit our plus sign, we hit our tag browser down here, and we got no tags. Now, this is really cool, though. Let's go ahead and talk about this because typically, if you've been to my class, I've told you, well, if you really get serious about data, then you need to get you a real database. It comes with the sample SQLite database. But inductive automation has set up this core historian, which apparently is a very robust database, one built into it now, too. So I don't know much beyond that right now because I just went to Inductive's community conference this past week. But so we need to add our tags to historian before we can actually put them here. So what we're going to do is we're going to get, what tags did we have over here? Let's go see what we had. So we're going to double click on this one. And we had the actual speed, and then we had our HMI colors. And here's where I had to use that graph because it wouldn't let me put a Boolean in. And it's just that I had to make integers that were 0 1s, I think. I can't even remember what I had to do. Oh, no. Okay. This is worthwhile to kind of talk about. The range of this is 0 to 100. Actually, this is a really good feature. Yes. I'm glad I just thought of this one. So the range of my graph is fixed in connected components workbench. So 0 to 100 for 0 to 100%. And so if I wanted it so that when we press our green button, this came up to 100, I had to make a value of 100 on that green graph. And that's why that is done that way. So we're going to do, yeah, because this is a really cool feature. So in this case, we're going to bring those 3 or 4 tags and 5 tags into our historian. So to do that, we're going to find our tag, and we have our actual speed's the first one. We're going to right click it and edit tags. And then on the left side, we have history, or you could scroll up and down through here, but they got them nice and organized. And then history enable. We're going to select true. Now, I would really love it. It would be awesome, but I don't think it does. Is normally this is what everybody in class does is they're like true and they hit OK and it's gone. Well, this doesn't actually do anything because in addition to that, you have to select a storage provider. If you don't select a storage provider, it doesn't go anywhere. So we've hit our drop down here. There's the sample SQL database that we had before 8.3, but let's see how this core historian works. So I'm going to select core historian. And then you have a sample mode here. And honestly, when you're rendering very stale data, you may have to play with this a little bit. For this one, I'm going to do the on change time between samples 1 second, but then we have a max time between samples. I'm actually just going to stick, actually, this would be a very bad practice. We need to think a lot about this, but I want you to be able to see some visuals. We're going to stick it at a second also. So what that means is typically, as the value changes, it's going to log that. And actually, I shouldn't have made them the same. That's all right. We're going to do a video later on that talks just about data and trending. But in this one, I just want us to see something. So that's going to be good enough. So we're going to click OK. And you're going to be so heartbroken because now you want to hit your play button. You want to hit the start button. You see this going up and you just want to see something happen here. And, it doesn't happen. And it's one of those I'm like, if there's ever a button that I really wish or a selector I wish was different on this, it is this one. Is if we go to our easy chart and we take our filter box out, then it defaults on the chart mode to historical, which means which is kind of cool. You can go find any data you want, but we want real time. And now this should be showing us real time data. Actually, it's not because I forgot the other thing I always forget. I forgot to actually add the tag in here. So now we'll go over here. I'll change that back in a second. And we're going to go to tag history pins. And when we hit the plus sign now and go down here to our tag path under core historian, now we can go in and grab our actual speed because that's the only tag I added. And I'm going to call this our actual speed. And for now, we're going to leave all the rest of this at its default. Oh, that blue's not going to work out well, though, because we're going to use that blue for our blue button. Didn't think about that. Nope, we're going to leave that just like it is. We'll have a learning opportunity in a little bit. But now I'm going to switch this back. Actually, you can see it immediately going. But this defaults to historical, which means this bar is not actually moving. Kind of similar to telling you in class when we're troubleshooting, even in trending in Studio 5000. Look down here to make sure this bar is actually moving. So this chart mode needs to be on real time. And now we got our start button. Well, preview, start button. That goes up. And notice it's at 30 right now. So now I hit my slider up. And see, this automatically ranges. Now that can be a great feature or it can be a terrible feature too. Is when we're staring at data, especially of operators, when they're used to a line being in a specific spot, if you're changing the scale on them right here, it's going to make their life really miserable. So what we want to do is we want to make these values over here fixed. And so we're going to hit our stop button and we're going to hit this and then go to, or double click on it. And we're going to go over here to axes. I'm going to show you why we're doing it though. So if we look at our actual speed, just highlight and hit the little pencil, then the axis is our default axis. So what I want to do is we're going to go look at what is our default axis. And it is 0 to 100, which we're 0 to 100%. Outstanding. But it also has this auto range going on. And we don't want to use the auto range. So we're going to uncheck that box. And now it's fixed at 100%. So maybe oops, hit the preview. So maybe the operator's used to seeing this, in the 20s. That's going to be somewhere down here. And that way, as it's running across, they can be like, yep, this is where it should be normally. And okay, maybe they're getting a leak. The filters are clogged. The pump's got to run harder. And so it's going to be a fixed area where they know, oh, this thing's running way too high right now. Okay, so that takes care of that one. Now for the other one, we want to use our light information. So we have HMI blue light, green light, red light, and yellow light. So we're going to go ahead and open up our blue light, go to history, and we're going to make it true. And we're going to remember to do our storage provider. And then we will go to our green light, and we will go to history. We'll enable it. And then we will go to our red light. And enable it. And then use the core historian. And finally, we will grab the yellow light. And go to history. And true on the core historian. And now, let's add to them so we can see the issue we end up running into. So I'm going to take it out of preview mode. And we're going to go to, oops, no, we're going to pins. And we're going to add some pins. And so, okay, since the default to the color green, we're going to make this one our green light. And we'll hit our browse button and grab our green light. And then we'll hit our plus sign again. Okay, well, that one, I was hoping it would go for something easy. All right, now this is going to be absurd, this yellow. In fact, we're going to make it a little bit dirty yellow. But it does make sense for the yellow light to be yellow. Yellow light. And we'll hit the browse button on that one. Oops, did I hit the browse button on the last one? I don't think I did. Now that I'm thinking about it, we'll go back and look at that one. I should have done that. Let's go over here. Check that green light out. Oh yeah, I did. Just forgot what I've done. All right, so now we'll hit the plus sign again. Okay, we're gonna call that blue. Except for, did we already use that? Nope, we didn't. Okay. And this is the blue that we're using on the other one. So blue light. And we'll hit a browse on that and go to our blue light. And then finally, we need, which one do we need? Our red light. So we'll hit our plus sign. How about that? We almost got red. And we're going to make that one red. That way we can see it. And then we'll go down here and we will grab our red light. Okay. Oops. Let's give it a name. Red light. And click OK. All right, so there's all of them. Really cool. You can check and uncheck them when you're playing here. But all right, here's the issue now. So we have this. Well, first of all, what values are they right now? We can't tell. But if I press the green, I definitely get a green button. I definitely not showing anything. Now, if you probably zoom way the heck in, you're going to see that green slightly change there. And then it slightly went into oblivion there. So now our issue is we can't really tell that our green is what's going on with this green. And so that's what I had to do the fix for over here in Connected Components Workbench is really you have one scale. You got one opportunity to say what your min and max is. So where are we at? Right here. Minimum 0, maximum 100, the end. And so I had to make a tag. Actually, let's see if I can find it really fast. It's been a while. let's see, that's all about LMC positioning. I don't know if I can find it fast enough. Oh, there it is. So we're moving 100 when the blue light has a 1 in it, and 0 when it has a 0 in it. And that's how I was getting by on that one. But with ignition, you don't need to do that. So I want this thing to go full up here when it does it. So what we're going to do is we're going to double click on it, and we're going to create another axis here. So we're going to hit plus on that. And I'm going to call this my Boolean, since these are Boolean tags. Uh-oh, why is my keyboard quit working? There we go. Boolean. And then we're going to make our upper bound on, oops, that's the default. We're going to make our upper bound 1. And then I'm going to turn the auto ranging off on that one too. And then we can go over here. And now we can change our green, yellow, blue, and red light to those. I'm going to I can't double click, that's right. Highlight the green. And we're going to hit the little pencil mark. And instead of the default axis, I'm going to make this the Boolean axis. And, just so we can see that we can do it, it's going to be a little absurd, but we're going to make our line weight 10 on that. And then we're going to, oops, I wonder if I can do that. Can I edit them all at the same time? Doesn't look like that may have been a great idea. Let's not mess up now. We're almost done. So we're going to hit the yellow light, and we are going to, we'll go ahead and make it 10 as well. And we're going to make it Boolean. And then we'll hit our blue light, and we're going to make it 10 as well. And we'll make it the Boolean. And we'll hit a red light and make it 10 as well. And hit the Boolean. Oh, yeah. Well, I told you that was going to be absurd. There's no doubt that was slightly absurd. But, but I just wanted you to know that you could do it. Okay, so now it's really clear that green light was on at one point. And if I press the green button now, it's really clear that green, yeah, okay, 10 was, I admit it, 10 was absurd, but okay, you get the point. And yeah, so then we could hit our yellow, and there will be our yellow. It's kind of going behind that one right now, but yeah, and we could do some offsets if we really needed to see multiple ones at the same time. But yeah, that gets all those on. Then we can press our start button. And so individually scaled now, we have these on 0 to 1, but yeah, we got this one sitting down here at 22 because that is actually 22%. And if we hit our play button and we bring that one on up, then we see it go up over here. All right, so there are some other items that probably should be converted, but that really gets you through your basics. I mean, let's talk a little bit absurd. That definitely should not be gray now. So if I went to color and we went and found our background color, oops, yes, this one right here, we should be able to hit our drop down and find the color that we're actually using. Actually, don't see it. I don't think it's that one. Oops, nope, it's not that one. So yeah, we'll just hit the blank here and we'll copy that. And then we'll click back on that. And now we can put that right in there. And yeah, so that really covers how you could convert a basic HMI in, well, in this case, a Panel View 800, but it could be, a Panel View Plus, or it could be whatever brand of HMI, and turn it into ignition screen. And then, if anything else, this is really cool. If you're like, man, I think I want to, learn about, HMIs, 2 minutes of a download and you are off and running with ignition. So next, we do want to talk about how the new perspective one does. So in our next video, that's what we're going to do. There actually is no difference between doing this with a Micro 800 or doing it in a Compact Logix PLC. But if I don't do it on the Compact Logix PLC, I know y'all won't leave me alone that I need to do in the Compact Logix PLC. So the next one, we will do the same conversion in Vision for our Compact Logix PLC. And once that video is up, there will be a link right here taking you over there.